Another person who I think needs to declare for the NBA draft, and it includes LeBron James. It includes him leaving Los Angeles. Let me go ahead and get into this. I call this part cat's out of the bag. I think, and I've said this before, and for people that have listened to me before, there's been updates on all this. This is a prediction that I've had for a very long time. And, I already said I think the women's game, the LSU Iowa was going to be the most watched. It ended up being that. You got to trust me on this one, including with the new reports. I think the cat is out of the bag. I think his son, Bronny James, will declare for the NBA draft, which then means that LeBron is going to leave Los Angeles and join him wherever he goes. And I have just the team for them to go to. And I'll tell you that in a little bit. But just in case you don't know, the newest reports is that because USC, where Bronny is currently playing basketball as a freshman, the head coach, Andy Enfield, ended up leaving. He went on to SMU. Coaches do this all the time. But because of that, he has his own decision, which... good God, another James with another decision that's going to be, nationally televised. Hopefully he doesn't do quite as bad as his dad did with it. But, he does have a decision to make, and the early reports were saying that he's going to stay in college and go to the transfer portal, that because his coach left and other teammates have left, that he's going to kind of do the same thing a lot of kids do when the coach leaves and go find another team and stay in college. However, his father, LeBron, post-game, after all those reports came out, was asked in an interview about it, and he said basically, Bronny hasn't made a decision yet. We're going to talk to him and see what we're going to do going forward. But this guy, Bronny, the son of LeBron, is the former McDonald's All-American. He's a 4-star recruit that did have a bad year at USC that had a lot to do with, having cardiac arrest. I really think that needs to be, reminded and reinforced. Bronny collapsed just a year ago. He almost died. If it wasn't for USC having what they had and the people behind them, and actually the kid Uchukwu, who had the same condition and the same collapse a year before that, Bronny James might not even be here on this earth right now. He had a major heart attack. He had a cardiac arrest that was due to congenital heart defect and collapsed on the floor during a practice. They had to revive him. They had to give him surgery and the whole thing. And he came back this year after, being a high recruit and everything else and being very highly propped up at USC and didn't have a great year. Yeah, not at all. Just so you know, he played 25 games. He only started 6. He only averaged 4.8 points. He only had 2.1 assists. He only had 2.8 rebounds. He shot 36% from the field and 27% from threes. He played that, by the way, in 19 minutes. So in almost 20 minutes, he was only able to amass less than 5 points a game, shooting 27% from three, 36% from the field. Not good. But again, he is a former McDonald's All-American. He is a 4-star recruit. He is the son of LeBron, and he is a very, very talented guy. He's 6'4", he's 19, he's extremely athletic. Of course, he's got LeBron's DNA. He's going to be, a little bit of a specimen there. So I don't think he's going to the transfer portal. And, LeBron's already kind of hinted at it by saying, we haven't really made a decision yet. I don't think he's doing it. I think he's going to declare for the NBA draft, and I will be one of the only people on the planet that'll tell you this. I think he should. After a shitty season, after a cardiac arrest, after everything that happens, I don't think he should stay in college. I think he should follow his dad, and I think he needs to go to a certain NBA team with his dad, and I'll tell you which one it is here in just 1 second. But first of all, why? Why should Bronny go to the NBA right now? Well, besides the obvious, which is that in the NBA, you never get to see fathers and sons play on the same team. This would make, again, all sorts of unique history. This is something that's unheard of. Most people don't. LeBron's legacy will always be his longevity. LeBron James being able to play post-20 seasons and still be as effective as he is at his, end of the spectrum here. Hell, he's only a few years younger than me. Being able to still be dominant and still be a great player in this league 20-something seasons into his career is absolutely phenomenal. And you usually don't have anyone even get close to this level of longevity. So, it's happened in baseball. It's happened in, I think, maybe hockey, some other sports. It has never happened in professional basketball, and I know at the NBA level, where the father and son have a chance to play on the same team. So let's just throw out the obvious of why I think he should go ahead and move up next year now that he spent his 1 year of eligibility in college and make himself declared for the NBA draft. Because how cool would it be to not just have a father and son play, and not just any father and son, LeBron frickin' James and his kid? Who doesn't want to see that? Who wouldn't tune in to see that? Not to mention, as I've mentioned in previous podcasts, he is the son of LeBron James. He is the son of a pro. And I will lecture this till the day I die, and I'll repeat it one more time. If I'm an NBA general manager, if I'm an NFL general manager, whoever, I will always favor the son or daughter of a pro athlete long before anybody else, because sons of pros just for whatever reason get it, and there's a long track record that explains this as well. There's a lot of examples, but I mean, it makes sense too. They get the best training, they get the best access, they are used to the spotlight. There's a lot of reasons for it, but sons of pros do well in almost every sport and every category. You have Shedeur Sanders right now over there in Colorado. You have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the Mannings, the Griffeys, McCaffrey, all sons of pros. I can go on and on that list. So besides the fact that it'd be cool to see him and his dad play, besides the fact that a lot of times the sons of pro athletes do extremely well, are just the throwaway reasons. Why do I think, even though he had a bad year, Bronny should already declare for the NBA draft? First of all, I'm going to go mystery over proof. The last thing you want to do, as I've done this 1,000 times in my life, there's an old quote, better to be thought a fool and stay silent than speak and confirm it. Kind of in the same category, better to be thought of as the McDonald's All-American prospect, son of LeBron James, than stay too long in college and prove that maybe you're not that good. Right now, because of his medical history, because of everything that happened, and we still don't really know a lot about him, only played 25 games, there's just as much as there's negative, there's positive and hope of like, he could be. We haven't really had a chance to see it play out. He could be. Maybe not as good as his dad, but still a very good prospect. He was a great player out of high school. He did have a major medical thing happen. He did have cardiac arrest, and maybe this season we can throw it away into like, maybe it was just all that put together. If he goes back next year and continues to average 5 points a game, shoot 27% from the field, it's going to be a lot harder for this whole dream of LeBron and his son to happen. The other reason I think that he should go ahead and already declare the NBA, and I have a video for this, Bronny's game is actually more suited for the NBA, which is kind of crazy to say. He sucks in college. I think he'll actually fit in and do better as a pro. You can tell his professional training, and looking at highlights from USC here, thank you, Corey, he's got a great jump shot, first of all. He's got a better shot than his father. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Bronny actually shoots the three ball better than his dad. But he's also very skilled and very unselfish. He doesn't like to be the star. He does follow his dad in that respect a little bit, of that he really doesn't like to kind of be the number one scorer or the man. But if you put him around other good players, he fits in very well because he's always willing to make the extra pass. He's very unselfish. He's a great shooter. He's very fundamentally sound. He understands the game. He has a very high IQ, just like his dad. As you look at these moves, they're even already pro-level moves. He doesn't have a lot of excess to his game. He doesn't have a lot of, the flash that you have to kind of reel in with a lot of star college athletes that try to fit into the NBA. It's very concise. It's very compact. Every movement has a reason. I really think he's actually better suited in the NBA, surrounded by other talent, than he would be even at the college level. So that's the second reason I think that LeBron should declare, is that I actually think his game is better suited than it ever has been in college, where it really doesn't seem to fit in, especially if he's around other kind of mediocre players. Give him other good players. To kind of give you an idea from the Lakers, Lonnie Walker is, I think he's kind of on that level. The third reason I'm going to say I need them to go ahead and get this done, the stash and dash. I think he would be a perfect stash and dash project for people that don't follow NBA draft. The stash and dash basically means we think you have talent. They do this a lot with Europeans, and you're very young and you're still kind of unpolished. So we'll draft you this year, and we're going to throw you in some other league somewhere, let you mature for a couple more seasons, and then, when you're ready, be able to come play with us in the NBA. Now, with having the whole LeBron connection, if he's able to get on the team that I want him to get on, which is the same team as his dad, hopefully next season, I think you can't ignore bringing him up every now and again for exhibitions or certain games or whatever. You got to sell tickets. But, he is a perfect stash and dash project because there is the talent. He is 6'4". He is extremely athletic. He does have a great IQ. He does have a great shot. He can play at the NBA level. Now, he's probably going to be able to go to the NBA no matter what because of his dad, and somebody knows that if you take his son, you probably get LeBron to go with it. But, also with the stash and dash and putting him in the pro level, because we do know that he probably is, no matter what, going to be allowed to at least try to play at the NBA at some point, and his game needs to be refined for the NBA anyways, and that's already where he's going. What's he going to learn in college? Like, honestly, what's another year in college going to help a Bronny James who's already a millionaire. He's already got like $10 million in an NIL deal. He's LeBron's son, for Christ's sake. He's going to be all right money-wise. I don't think he has to worry about, without my degree, I can't get a job. And even at the basketball level, what's an NCAA coach going to teach him that LeBron can't? What's an NCAA coach going to teach him that, a G League or a Pro League can't? So stash and dash him. Even if you want to draft him this year with no plans of playing him for the next 1 or 2 years, go ahead and just put him in your, your farm system, whatever you want to call it, and then move him along later, a la a lot of people who I don't think, there's a lot of examples of this. Serge Ibaka, Rudy Fernandez, Marc Gasol, both Bogdanoviches, Tony Kukoc, Peja Stojakovic, Manu Ginobili, and David Robinson. He was because of the Navy. He had to go serve in the Navy, but he was technically a stash and dash. The MVP this year, Nikola Jokic, was a stash and dash. Just because you are one of those guys, and maybe because you don't contribute immediately when you get drafted, with the right tutelage or whatever, you can go ahead and be it. So, again, let me go ahead and encapsulate. I think the mystery over the proof helps and why he should be drafted. I think that his game is more suited for the NBA. I think he's a perfect stash and dash, a la, again, the Gasol, Manu Ginobili, David Robinson, Nikola Jokic example of he can be put away for a while, get matured, and then still be a great NBA player, so you might as well sign him now. Where do I think he needs to go? And this is the interesting one here, and I think this fits like a glove, and I'm calling my shot right now. Let me get to my next little photo here. I think he's got to go to the San Antonio Spurs. I think this is fit, again, in the same way the stories I've talked about before. This is just perfectly just put together to where I think they need to go ahead and draft Bronny next year and then have LeBron come and then put them both on the San Antonio Spurs with Greg Popovich. I actually think this is going to happen. And I'm going to call the hell out of my shot. I am going to Angel Reese rub it in if I get this right, because it's still a year away and there's still a lot of things that have to happen. I honestly think this is going to happen. For one, you can have Rich and LeBron, the dad, conspire with the San Antonio Spurs because his best friend Rich Paul has like 20 of the best NBA players on his roster with Clutch Sports. But there's so many reasons. Drafting Bronny this year after I hope he declares, and then adding LeBron James in free agency once he's able to opt out and leave Los Angeles works like a charm. I mean, the San Antonio Spurs, even with Victor, are still 2 years away. They still got some time to work things out. They have multiple draft picks this year. They have a coach that is one of the only coaches on planet Earth that LeBron James respects and will take, tutelage or instruction from, which is going to be weird if Bron's got his kid there. For any other NBA coach to kind of be able to bark at his kid, you're going to have to go to LeBron. I think he does respect Popovich enough, and they've been around and respect each other enough to where he can actually get that done. They have a ton of experience with the stash and dash, as I called it, of, taking Euros. Again, Manu Ginobili, David Robinson, there's been others. They have experience in that category. They're Victor Wembanyama, the alien, the freak, the 7'4" French phenom, who was the all eyeballs. We can never see a prospect like this before since LeBron James. So LeBron would be the only one who could possibly actually mentor him and understand what it is and what it's like when everyone is staring at you and everybody wants your attention and your autograph and everything else, so he can mentor him in that way that nobody else can really do it. And the other thing is that San Antonio Spurs, because they suck out loud, are going to need to attract free agents. And with Rich Paul and with LeBron and being able to bring all that together, you're going to be able to bring more free agency to your team and better players than you would if you didn't have them. So again, why do I think Bronny should go to the Spurs and be drafted by the Spurs? And why do I think the Spurs should do it? Why do I think LeBron should join them? They're 2 years away. They have multiple draft picks. They have a coach that their dad respects. They have experience doing the stash and dash. They have the phenom in Victor. Then the only person who can honestly say, I know what you've been through and mentor you is LeBron James. They need to attract free agents. They need to be able to kind of work under the table. Rich Paul is probably the best in the NBA at really towing that line. They have, by the way, 4 draft picks next year. So that's also very key in everything I'm talking about. They have not just 2 in the first round, they have 2 in the second round. They have 4 total because of a lot of weird stuff that happened from years before to where it's all added up. So they can, quote unquote, waste a pick. They have $79 million in cap space the next 2 seasons to where they'll have extra money, again, if and when they're able to put all this together to where Rich Paul and Popovich can kind of work under the table. And, Popovich, and I got him as Gandalf the Grey here, this crystal ball. I need this, I need that. Rich is the best in maybe all of sports at getting players to where they want to go. This fits like a glove. This fits like a damn charm. I don't know exactly what I'm missing other than it hasn't happened yet. There's still a lot of dominoes that have to fall. But, I mean, you know, Gandalf here and staring into his crystal ball, I think he sees it as much as I do. I really think that in a year, when everyone else acts surprised, remember who told you first. I think Bronny declares. I think he ends up being drafted by the San Antonio Spurs, who got enough picks to go ahead and try to throw away one. I think then Dad has to join him. And they all put it together. And next thing you know, maybe LeBron can still get that 5th or 6th ring that he needs in order to, you know, kind of get to Kobe or Jordan or some of the other guys. But then also, if nothing else, he gets to have fun with his kid and gets to be a mentor to Victor. So there's too many things. It's too perfect. It might not happen. I think it's going to happen. I think cat's out of the bag. I'm calling my shot now. All right. Moving on.